Following a number of attempts by Remainers since the 2016 Leave vote to stop the democratic process, they now have a new campaign to destroy Brexit. It's called Stop Boris. There's a guy called Marcus J. Ball, a random nobody rich city boy who's taking Boris to court because of the Brexit bus during the 2016 campaign.
We estimate that we will eventually need £2 million. I've worked on this for 2 years now, and we're finally ready to do this thing. If people are willing to fund me, I am going to prosecute you. What do you think, Boris? Will they?
God, is it just me or this guy is really awkward and scary? Now, Marcus is saying that Boris Johnson lied about the £350 million figure and the promise to give that money to the NHS, because Boris was standing outside the bus and doing interviews and taking pictures with it. Now, firstly, the bus was organised by the Vote Leave team, and as well as Boris Johnson, we also had Gisela Stewart, Michael Gove, myself, and a number of other activists who were taking pictures outside of it doing interviews. But for some reason, Marcus is only taking Boris to court over this. First, let's have a look at the lie. In defense of Marcus, actually Boris Johnson was slightly wrong about the £350 million a week that we sent to the EU. At the time, it was actually more than that. It was around £375 million a week that we were sending to the EU. Now, of course, this was the figure before the rebate. Secondly, the promise to give that money to the NHS. Let's not even start with the wording on the bus and the fact they didn't actually say that. But regardless of that, after the Brexit vote, the Conservative government announced that they are, in fact, going to be giving that money to the NHS after we leave the EU. In fact, they said they're going to give more money than the actual £350 million that was mentioned on the bus. Now, if Marcus is so concerned about politicians and campaigners lying about stuff, is he going to take George Osborne to court because of his comments during the referendum campaign?
Vote to leave will push our economy into a recession. Within 2 years, the size of our economy, our GDP, would be at least 3% smaller as a result of leaving the EU, and it could be as much as 6% smaller.
Well, he clearly lied. None of that actually happened. What about Jeremy Corbyn for lying during the 2017 general election that he's going to wipe out the student debt for everyone in the country?
I will deal with it. You might have thought Jeremy Corbyn is going to relieve me of my debt, but you won't.
We never said we would completely abolish it.
Or what about Alistair Campbell and Tony Blair for their dodgy dossier and the Iraq war? Their lies sent our boys and girls to an unnecessary war. Some of them never came back home. But going back to Marcus J. Ball, he claims that his campaign solely focuses on exposing politicians' lies, something that I could actually get behind. But it's not the truth. Thanks to Guido Fawkes, we now have evidence of a crowdfunding page that he's now deleted, which actually stated that this is not just about exposing politicians lying, it's to stop Brexit. Number 1, prosecute Vote Leave over lying apparently. Number 2, fund a legal challenge to stop Brexit. The text says, once these prosecutions have established that politicians did indeed lie to voters, our next step will be to take other action to prevent Brexit. This may be in the form of a judicial review. We will also work to reverse Brexit and ensure our membership of the European Union is not lost. Now, why is this a threat to Brexit and why Boris? Since the Brexit vote in 2016, some Remainers promised to each other that they will do whatever they could to stop Brexit. First, we had Gina Millar, who started this ridiculous legal challenge against the government to find loopholes to stop Brexit. And at the time, she said, oh, this is just, for legal reasons. I don't really want to stop Brexit. Now we have her as one of the leading activists on the Remain side who's fighting against Brexit. Then we had the Liberal Democrats, who from day one started to create a campaign inside Parliament to stop this democratic process. Then we had a number of Labour MPs and actually some Conservative MPs who started various moves inside Parliament, including Yvette Cooper, who kept saying that their move isn't really about stopping Brexit, it's just about getting the right Brexit. And finally, we have the House of Commons Speaker John Bercow, who was actually going to be leaving soon, but then he changed his mind. He wants to stay around at least until October 2019 to make sure that Brexit doesn't actually happen. So far, a lot of these movements have failed to completely destroy Brexit, but this new one does matter. The Stop Boris campaign is focusing on him as a candidate for the leadership of the Conservative Party because they see Boris Johnson as the biggest threat to the Remain side who is inside Parliament. And this is why, even on the Brexit side, I know there are some supporters of Boris and some people who don't actually like him. But regardless of what we think of him as a person and as a politician, this Stop Boris campaign does matter, and it is a threat to Brexit. I'm going to be covering this in the upcoming days and weeks, so make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell next to it. And also, we are launching our first live Q&A with me this Sunday. So if you want to join, make sure you sign up to the Cabinet Club. The link is in the description below this video, and I'll see you next time.